Hey everybody, it's Kason with the Greater Good Protocol. I hope you're having a good day. Today we would like to discuss neural genetic trait passing. So that term is new or kind of just made up by myself. I don't know if it means anything, um, but I'd like to use it for now to emphasize the point. So, neural genetic trait passing. This is going to be the incident or situation that happens when a parent or a guardian or any significant person in a child's life passes on their thought processes, their that now those thought processes can be categorized into multiple sections: beliefs, scientific understandings, direct knowledge, defined direct defined knowledge being passed on, and four, a major, I think, uh, category would be the not fear, but like reactivism. I mean, I'm sure y'all can come up with some better names and definitions for these things. What I'm trying to get out is a concept and an idea. Um, we all know that I'm wrong most of the time about defining or spelling or whatever, but here's the idea, though, and what we're getting at is neural, genetic being not your actual DNA, but what you're made of, how your brain thinks. So, personally, let's say myself, when I see a mess on the floor, I have an urge automatically to clean it. I believe that's a taught behavior. Let's go with a little more complex situation where um, I'm at work. I do construction. So let's say I'm laying some tile on the wall, on the floor, and I set the tile down and I move it around a little bit, and it doesn't really fit in the right spot. It's a cut piece of tile, so I went and I cut it, and it is just ever so slightly gonna show the imperfection. Now let's say that imperfection shows by a 16th of an inch. Now that might trigger my brain to say that is unacceptable. I need to redo the tile. Another situation, another pathway possibility in that would be it could take an eighth of an inch of an imperfection showing, like along the whole side of a baseboard or something, that's going to show the tile is just too small and it's going to show too much. Another possibility, this concludes a lot of factors, ethical standards and quality control, but basically what we're getting to is, one person could be okay with a 16th, one person could be okay with an eighth, another person would be fine if there was a big old gap the size of my thumb, against the wall, and you're going to see just some extra grounded in space that's this big. So those are thought process things that are passed forward to children or people that you're just highly involved with. People that pass those things forward would be teachers, parents, coaches, influential speakers, politicians, all of that. Whomever you decide to elevate as a role model in your young brain or in your current brain, developing as an adult into different aspects. I mean, because if you're developing a skill set or something new to you, you all of a sudden are being branched into something as if you were a child, right? So you know nothing at all about a certain subject. Let's say that subject is framing. You've never built anything out of wood. You've never done carpentry, nothing. So you're like, okay, how important can crowning and how important can crowning a board be? Seeing where the hump in the because wood comes from a tree. Just briefly, wood comes from a tree and it's not perfectly straight. It has wiggles in it because of the drying process, because of the way the tree grew. Not all trees grow perfectly straight. The type of wood matters, blah, 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 blah. So you need to determine where the crown of the wood is for certain types of applications like fascia, which is like what lines the outside edge underneath the roof line. Art projects, or if you're doing like a ceiling with like, if you're doing paneled wood on a wall, I mean, a lot of things you want to have the curvature of the wood lining up in the same direction. So these things are taught to be important, and they're taught to be important by how much. Is it taught to be important by a smidge? So a smidge is 1 to 5%. A little bit, 5 to 20%. Kind of bit, whatever. It goes on and on. It's a language barrier thing that we're talking about here when you and I imagine talking about a foreign subject is what I'm getting at. And that concept of neural genetic trait passing. So I'm trying to pass on to somebody new, somebody else, you currently, a concept that you're foreign to. So the depth and perception that I'm able to educate you on its importance relative to what? I guess, does it align with your ethics and beliefs? Does it fit into your mindscape? Does it, if you're, let's say if you're, whatever, like if you align to be a naturalist, or you align with yourself to be, an economic style person, or maybe you're spiritual, all of these different like self-aligned positions that we place ourselves in do tend to affect the information that we absorb and how we absorb it. So I'm completely random. It has nothing to do with my beliefs, nothing to do with actual world knowledge. It's just for example's sake, a spiritualistic person might not truly care about the mathematical precision of laying a tile on the floor. They would be okay with a thumb-sized gap, whatever. It's coating the floor. You're getting something to walk on. There's more important. There's people out there to care about. Whatever. It's a psychological, just probably not very true. I've known many spiritual people that were very precise and accurate in their work in the construction field. That's what I do. So, but it's just an example, and that actually is the other thing is, just because you align yourself doesn't necessarily mean that that's who you are. You define who you are on your own. You get to choose that. That is what real freedom is about. So, yeah, think about that. Neurological, genetic trait passing. How are you, instead of having children and assigning them these few, 2, 3, 10 children that you're going to have and influencing their lives with your genetics and then also with your teaching. But how are you interacting with every individual human being in your entire life in this social dilemma? And how are you passing on to them a neural genetic trait pathway, a teaching? How are you giving them something? That's huge, That should matter just as much, because the influence that I have on the world with the person standing in line in front of me or whatever, they might be the person that's going to teach my child, for parents out there, or they're going to be the person that's going to take care of my dog, or they're going to be the person that, stitches me up after an accident. I mean, the influence that we have upon each other, if it's negative in a generalistic fashion in any way, if it's not optimized to be true, vetted, not just an emotional reaction that spurs a instantaneous result. I'm annoyed. You're taking too long to move. I'm going to honk my horn until you move. Well, what if you just, honked your horn for 20 seconds at someone that was in front of you bawling their eyes out because they found out that someone they cared about deeply died. And now they have someone spewing their horn, so they got cut short of the conversation they were having and brought back into reality. Great. Alright, so you're a realist, you're a hard ass, and you think that nothing matters. Emotions don't matter. You should be tough. Well, I'm sorry to say, but that's not how everybody is. It takes a lot to develop a callus by working hard. And that's not necessarily a good thing. You become insensitive with your feelings on your fingers And you're not capable of feeling the imperfections in the world. So everybody that thinks that, you know, being tough is the only thing in the world that matters, I'm sorry, but you're a fucking idiot. Like, I've been there, but I've done that, you know? I've seen thousands of people that have. I've met probably hundreds of them. Yeah, you know? And you know what people realize after the fact? They realize, damn, you know, coming back from insensitivity is a harder path than getting there. So be mentally strong. Remember how you're impacting people around you, because it matters. Be a good person. Be intentional in everything you do. We're going to go down one little further path because I would like to bring in a further concept. So, seashell. A seashell has, let me see if I can do it with my fingers here. It has multiple layers. So if you look at each finger here, the inside of the shell, or really, and then it cycles outward, you know. And it's layer upon layer upon layer upon layer. Look at that and compare it to this. So this is a wine glass, because wine's great. Now, I'm giving you direct view of my finger. My fingertip is now exposed through one layer of glass, 2 layers of glass, glass with light and wine, so on and so forth. As things get passed from person to person, they get blurred, they get generalized, information gets lost. It's like that game you played as a kid, I think it's called Telephone. Say this sentence to the person next to you. By the time it makes it around the circle of kids, it's a completely different story because everybody has a different interpretation. As a child, you don't really remember everything that well. My big question to you is the most important lessons in your life that deeply impacted your heart. How are you losing interpretation when you speak to other people and try and send that message to them? Because if these are the things that matter most to you, are you truly speaking about the things that matter? Or are you honking your horn because you're pissed off and you just want things to move forward? If what you believe in really matters to you, then I really urge you to take the time to just breathe, and slow down, because rushing forward isn't going to change anything. The world isn't going to be better for the fact that you made an impulsive decision. The knowledge that you've accumulated over 20 years, over 30 years, over 55 years of your entire life isn't going to spew out of your head, from your mouth, from your actions, naturally and instantaneously in its most optimal form, unless you direct it to do so with practice, with perseverance, and with intention of having it be received by others positively and educationally. So, if you want to sit there and say anything in this world about people being wrong in any kind of way, then find patience with them. Find a reason to take time to understand. I think that's it. Cheers. Have a great night.